Good evening, and welcome to Fantastic Tales and Poetry. Tonight's poem, Big Black Logging Truck, by Jay Wallace. She first noticed the big black logging truck on her drive into work. Brand new, black body, black wheels, black trailer, and a large black crane with a claw mounted behind the cab. It stood out in the farmland outside of Fort Collins. Who's logging in Colorado, she wondered, ever so briefly, before continuing on her commute. The next day she saw it again, the big black logging truck, gleaming in the morning light, imposing, impressive, anonymous, yet memorable. Where was it going? "Do we do logging anywhere around here?" she asked a coworker on break. Her coworker just shrugged. "I don't know, maybe. I think for clearing beetle-kill trees we do logging. Why are you asking?" "Oh, no reason." Next day she saw it again, up close. It lumbered up to her car, spooking her, shaking her out of her early morning grogginess. Her gray Kia dwarfed by the big black logging truck. The paint was so shiny she could see her reflection, smooth like glass. Even the wheels, tires, and mud flaps were cleaner than her Kia. The tinted glass hid the driver from her view. There wasn't even a company name, no number even. She noticed how clean the crane and its claw were, and how the trailer wasn't a logging trailer. It was just a gondola trailer, just as meticulously maintained and gorgeously black as the truck pulling it. Green light. The big black logging truck roared as it revved up, driving away from her. Its license plate, XJC861. A loud honk behind her snapped her out of her trance. Off to work. She hit the Walmart on the outskirts of Fort Collins for her weekly groceries. Just for herself. She walked out, and at the edge of the parking lot, she saw it. The big black logging truck. Shoving her groceries into the back, she sped over, stepping out of her Kia to see it without her windows filtering her view. She was in awe and uneasy. Why, she couldn't say. The paint on the cab, the frame, the crane, the claw, and the long gondola behind it shone like glass at first. But the more she stared, the more it looked like skin, bringing to mind her childhood fascination with killer whales. She reached out. The truck roared to life, scaring her. It lumbered away. She saw something black leaking out of the gondola. Days passed. She stayed late one night at work. Not like anything or anyone was waiting at home. She finished data entry at 8. 8:30. Chicken strips, fries, and a Sprite at a rundown Carl's Jr. She stared out the window without thought. A giggle caught her attention. One cashier was getting off work. An old Honda Accord pulled in. The cute cashier hopped in. The overhead lamp shone a cuter young man kissing her. She thought about trying Tinder again. The Accord pulled away, and in the darkness, a pair of headlights just emerged. An air brake went off. Her eyes widened at the sight of the big black logging truck pulling out from the darkness. Fuck it, it's Friday. And she ran to her car. She wanted to know where it came from, where he or she came from. Had to be Eaton or Alt. Over the hill she followed its taillights dimming, the further away it got until finally they disappeared. She stopped at a crossroads where it could have turned. Her Kia was the only car for miles around. She huffed in disappointment, glancing up at the night sky. How clear it was. So many stars. Off in the distance, something caught her ear. Something loud. Industrial? The dump was miles away. Couldn't be a dairy or farm making those loud, humming, clanking, crushing, screeching. Screaming? Back in her Kia, she headed southward. The road was clear. Not a porch light or yard light was on. She came to a stop sign. 9:10. Maybe I should go home. Headlights approached in her rear view. She took off. The lights approached fast. It signaled to pass. It was the big black logging truck flying past her. In the gondola, something big and gray stuck out. The last thing she saw before the darkness enveloped it was the license plate. TLJ442. Was that a new trailer? Amber Alert woke her at 8. She rolled over to silence her phone. Missing persons. Maria Cruz, Albert Hernandez, last seen in gray Honda Accord, license plate TLJ442. What? She muttered. She called the state patrol, telling them what she saw last night. The dispatcher, clearly skeptical, told her they'd look into it. Monday morning, she sipped her coffee at the red light. She glanced in her rearview mirror. There it was. The big black logging truck. It rolled past. License plate? RRS124. Was it the same one? Was there a dealer selling these nearby? It looked new. The clean and shiny, its unreal black paint gleaming in the light. She dialed work. Crash on the highway. I'll be late, she told her boss. She was going to figure out where it was going. She pulled behind it. 65. The big black logging truck hustled down the road, the gap between them growing. 70. She watched intently. It didn't move like a big rig. It hugged the road, following its curves, its gondola moving with it like sections of a centipede. 75. She sped up. 80. A stop sign ahead. The big black logging truck blew through it. She hit her brakes and dialed the cops. Well, she tried. No signal. She floored it. The highway now a 2-lane road, abandoned farmland on all sides, the big black logging truck a dot on the crest of the next hill. Her Kia leapt over the crest. She gasped. It was a T intersection at a dirt road. Sliding sideways, she came to a stop right before the sign. Ahead, an empty road. Behind, a faint dust cloud. She followed the dust. She soon found an entry, pine trees lining the driveway, leading to nowhere, just pine trees all around. She slowed to a crawl, looking through the trees. No sign of the big black logging truck. Her window shattered as the claw grabbed her roof, lifting her Kia into its gondola. She couldn't open the door. She was panicking. Her phone had no signal. Her Kia bounced in the gondola as the big black logging truck drove like a bat out of hell, arriving at an abandoned turkey farm. The air brakes went off. She leapt out her window. Black sludge at the bottom of the gondola covered her ankles. She looked up. The claw bared down on her. She leapt out of the way and out of the gondola, the claw crushing her Kia. She ducked behind the crushed remains of a car, a gray Honda Accord covered in brown slime, reeking like bile. It was the Accord from the other night. The The seats were soaked in that black sludge, smelling of death. The claws stopped crushing her car. The turkey farm was silent. The engine of the truck had stopped. The driver's door opened. A scrawny, dirty man in a sleeveless shirt and trucker's cap stepped out, hurried, worried. No. Where is she? He said, panicking. She saw a piece of rebar near her. She reached for it. His head snapped in her direction, hearing the rebar scrape ever so quietly against the dirt floor. He ran behind the crushed Accord. She whacked him in the face 3 times. The 4th time he caught it and hit her knee and then her head. She dropped. "I'm sorry," he said. "It must be fed." He reached down to grab her. He got the Accord's broken mirror shoved through his eye and the rebar smashed into his skull. She sat down, breathing hard. Her ankles burning from the black sludge. She was only glad it was over. The big black logging truck started up, its engine roaring and gears grinding as it backed up and rammed the Accord, trying to kill her. She took off running to the other end, hoping for a door to break through the boarded-up windows. The big black logging truck followed her like a snake through the rusty steel columns. She saw a door at the far end of the turkey farm. She raced towards it, slamming her body against the door. It wouldn't open. The big black logging truck pulled up. Its claw grabbed her. She screamed, beating her fists against the cab as it pushed her inside. Her fingernails dug into the paint. The door slammed shut. No one was inside. The interior was a sickly dark red. Her seat seemed to pulse like it was breathing. She looked down at her hand. Blood and black paint was under her fingernails. Not her blood. She put her other hand on the steering wheel. She recoiled in shock. It was flesh. The truck drove itself over to the driver's corpse, its claw picking him up and throwing him into the gondola. A voice rumbled over the CB.